Savannah, there was this huge political story today suggesting a bit of a rift, to put it mildly, between Governor Palin and the McCain campaign handlers that are traveling with her. What is the campaign saying about it?
Well, the campaign is really pushing back hard against that article, and it was one that a lot of people were talking about this morning because it talked about some backbiting that was going on within the campaign, in particular on the Palin plane, and whether Governor Palin had become frustrated with some of her closest aides, advisors that the McCain campaign had more or less thrust upon her. In any event, what we're hearing from a spokeswoman for the campaign is that this isn't true at all, and that they are all on one page. They have one agenda in mind, and that is to win on November 4th, that from a McCain traveling spokeswoman. So it clearly got a lot of attention. People were talking about it, but the campaign is pushing back hard, saying it's not true.
Savannah, is this, clearly there are people who are going to blame somebody for the fact that Sarah Palin is viewed by 55% of the American people as not qualified to be president, a number that is astounding if you look at the history of vice presidential nominees. Has the blame game started to pick up from what you can detect, or is this sort of a low rumble beneath the surface right now?
Well, it is. Obviously, somebody's talking to this reporter who wrote the story in Politico today. From our perspective, we're not hearing a lot of dissension out here. They are really on the same page, but it's not that surprising. Look, things don't look great right now for the McCain campaign. They certainly could come back, and who knows what will happen. But whenever you're in a situation like this, people start to point fingers, and so there are some people in the McCain camp who are blaming Sarah Palin, and then there's some in the Sarah Palin camp who, wait a minute, her whole rollout was mishandled, and they're very protective of her and really admire her and think she's a great political figure. So it's not surprising that this kind of thing happens, but at the end of the day, keep in mind it is just one article. It's not that hard to find people who will speak, off anonymously in a piece. And as I said before, we are getting a lot of pushback from it. People saying, it isn't really reflective of what's going on inside the campaign.
And let's be clear, we love it when people speak to us, whether they want to do on the record or anonymously. So everyone, call Savannah Guthrie. All right,
Exactly.
Savannah from NBC News, Savannah Guthrie. Thanks, Savannah. We appreciate it. Craig Crawford is an MSNBC political analyst and columnist with CQPolitics.com. Craig, on that point of Sarah Palin, if John McCain loses badly and everyone in the Republican Party, or at least seems to blame Sarah Palin, that could essentially ruin her political career if she thinks that she has one. So isn't there some incentive for Sarah Palin supporters to push back before this is over, not let her get skewered in that fashion?
Oh, sure, and this is part of the death rattle of a losing campaign, David. When we start hearing candidates and aides blaming each other, there's trouble. In her case, I think she burst on the scene with this, mushroom cloud of attention that eventually sort of turned against her. But it was also fast. She might get an argument later on for a second hearing from a lot of voters, particularly if she handles it in a way of, adding some more substance to and showing in maybe some speeches, not doing too many light interviews, but showing some real heft to her message and her understanding, and that she might be able to come back simply because there's such a vacuum in the Republican Party if this campaign goes down for them.